All right, it's March 1st, 2022. And if you thought last year's off year local elections were exciting, boy, are you in for a treat this year. Primaries for the midterms are today. It's just after midnight, so they are today. And, I thought I'd take a look at it again. It's kind of fun, I guess. Fun enough to do a video, so that's all this is worth, right? But the point is, this is a primary. And here in Texas, you don't have to register as a party. If you've already registered to vote, you walk in the primary and you say, I want the Republican ballot or the Democrat ballot. Now, again, you don't really have to register as a Republican or Democrat, and there's nothing exciting happening on the Democrat ballot. Beto is running for governor. He's so fun, wants to take your guns, but now doesn't want to do that, so he's a lot of fun. But he's basically assured to win, because there's no opposition to him. There's nothing on the ballots there. We're not even going to take a look at it. There's like a bunch of constitutional amendments proposed from the Republicans. And that's going to get on the general election ballot, right? But let's take a look at these. A lot of these, I don't really give a shit, right? But let's just take a look at it. So I'm going to walk in tomorrow. And, of course, I was just informed that my representative, with all the redistricting after the census, is none other than Dan fucking Crenshaw. I don't like the guy. He's the Cyclops guy with the eye patch, and he's like a neocon. Don't like him. Oh, yeah, and the way the primaries work is the general election does not have runoffs in Texas, but the primaries do. So if Dan Crenshaw, who is currently the representative, the incumbent, he does not get 50%, there's a primary runoff in May, I think. So it's March now. It's going to be in May. So it doesn't actually matter who you vote for, if you don't like Dan Crenshaw, which I don't, you're going to vote for somebody. Jameson Ellis, I think I looked him up. He was the kind of Tea Party guy, or I don't know. Okay, I guess. I don't like Dan Crenshaw, so I'll vote for him, basically. Now, governor is interesting because that's the big one here. And, Greg Abbott, with all the lockdowns and stuff, he kind of turned around, and especially compared to everybody else, he's not as terrible as everyone else. It was about a year ago that they got rid of the mask mandates, for example, which, again, YouTube guidelines, it's the most important thing ever. But our governor got rid of it in March, of last year, 2020. So he's kind of turned around on that, but, he's kind of moderate, rhino, whatever, who cares, right? So I'm not a huge fan. There's three guys running. Chad Prather, listed number 2 here. He got in some attention because Facebook deleted his pages. He's online. He's fine. Alan West, he's some carpetbagger from Florida. He was also running the Republican Party here. So he's probably second to, what's-his-face, Greg Abbott. And Don Huffines, endorsed by Rand Paul. Probably I'll vote for him. I like that guy. He also was against the mandates. The opposition, these three guys against Greg Abbott, is split. But again, if Greg Abbott doesn't get 50%, then there will be a runoff. Now, I think there might actually be a decent chance, somewhat of a chance. I think I saw Greg Abbott was at 56% in the primary. So there's a decent chance that he's going to be primaried, and there's going to be a runoff in May. So that'll be interesting to see. Candy K. Horn. I saw an article about how this woman got like a fake Baroness title. I don't know. Rick Perry, you might remember Rick Perry from the fact that he was governor. This is a guy who's not that Rick Perry, but he's got the name of Rick Perry, and I think as a joke is running. Lieutenant Governor is Dan Patrick. I don't even care. Dan Patrick was fine. He was the guy who's like, well, we're elderly, so we'll sacrifice ourselves for the children. And then he didn't say too much, but I don't know. He wasn't too much of a pussy about these COVID issues, so I kind of like him. Louis Gohmert is the congressman who's always yelling things, and the media doesn't like him. So I guess I do just for that reason. George P. Bush. I just don't like that name. He's actually the Florida Governor Bush's son. If you look at the smoking gun, he was doing donuts in front of his ex-girlfriend's place when he was 20, which is a while ago, but that was kind of funny. Ken Paxton is the one now. He's got some weird lazy eye. I don't trust him for that. Let's see here. Comptroller. Glenn Hagar, I think, is the incumbent. I don't know. It says troller in there, so that's kind of interesting, I guess. It's just, I don't even care about these. Really, the only one is I don't want Dan Crenshaw to get in. I at least want a runoff, okay? Greg Abbott versus Beto O'Rourke. We'll get to it when we get to it, if that's what it is. I'll hold my nose and vote for Abbott, but in the primary, it's probably the Huffines guy. It's just ridiculous. I don't like the guy too much, you know. It's just like grow some balls guy. Lieutenant Governor, I don't. Attorney General, I guess. The Go-Birds guy kind of funny because the media is always just giving him shit. I don't like Jordan now. So far, whatever. Let's see. Commissioner of General Land Office. It's don't care. Commissioner of Agriculture. I think Sid Miller is the one who's in, right? Oh, my contacts are kind of dry. Railroad, like we still have railroads. It's like the Postmaster General. It's like, I don't know, we got FedEx and UPS and Uber. I'm sure they deliver mail, right? I don't know. Like, who cares? So, right, Justice of the Supreme. See, this is like a one-party state here. These are probably going to go for Republicans, and it's totally unopposed. So, Deborah, Rebecca. Oh, I'm already bored. Just unopposed women. You know. Supreme Court, again, Evan, I don't know. Court of Appeals, and it's like, yeah, Scott Walker. I don't know. It's a governor somewhere else. Maris Blair, the state representative. She's like the more moderate Republican. I don't like her then, so I just don't. Sorry. No. Probably don't like her at all, right? Justice, Court of Appeals, District 9. Again, I don't even know what that is. You know, district judge, unopposed, so whatever, no one cares. I don't care. County judge is interesting because, okay, that's interesting. So the county judge was not so bad on the whole COVID thing. Initially, he had midnight curfews. But then he changed his mind. He was on Ron Paul's show. He got into a car accident, and his excuse was, I was on Ambien. So I don't know who's running. Sarah Countryman, I think she's the mayor of one of the cities here in the county, and the other one's something else. I don't know. I think he's going to get easily reelected, and I'll probably vote for him. For the COVID stuff alone, he was decent. Judge, county court. Again, like, who cares, you know? County court, county judge, blah, blah, blah. Unopposed, county clerk. Like, I don't know. Or any of these horrible people. I would have heard about it. And these are so unopposed. County chair. What does that even do? Oh, that's county chair for the Republicans? Or for, like, the whole county? I don't even know where this position is. Well, it's unopposed, so it doesn't even, it matters even less than, right. Now, what is interesting is on the Democrat ballots, there are no propositions. So these are actually the few interesting ones. How many minutes has this been? 8 minutes, good Lord. All right, so let's see here. In light of the federal government's refusal, I also love these kind of, these very partisan sounding propositions, because it's just like the agenda is just so great. I love it. In light of the federal government's refusal to defend the southern border, Texas should immediately deploy the National Guard, Texas military forces, and necessary state law enforcement to seal the border, enforce immigration laws, and deport illegal. You know, I just want to see us show off with the federal government. I just want to see it. Yes, absolutely. In light of the federal government sucking, I just want to see a showdown. I just want to see a federal LA showdown here. Let's see. Texas should eliminate all property taxes within 10 years without implementing a state income tax. You know, this is yes, absolutely. As a property owner, no, I don't like the property taxes that I'm paying. That is, and it's also just so incendiary because the property taxes, half the property taxes here pay for the schools. So you get rid of this, and it's 10 years, and I'm sure they're going to, it's like Brexit. It's even more watered down than like Brexit or something, you know, and they're not going to. But I would love to just see that. I would love to see that, and then a bunch of politicians are going to be mouthing off, and hopefully we'll collapse all the schools. All right, Texans should not lose their jobs, nor, well, that sounds very socialist already, but there's a qualifier, nor should students be penalized for declining COVID-19. Yes, I agree. Should not lose their jobs because of that. It's a little too late by now, but I think affirming that would be fantastic. The what's his face? The governor kind of had some watered down executive order on that, but having something firm is good. Texas schools should teach basic knowledge and American exceptionalism and reject critical race theory and other curricula that promote Marxist doctrine and encourage division based on creed, race, and economics. So this is one of those Republican Karen issues where CRT. I don't like that, but again, going back to Proposition 2 of just abolishing property taxes and thereby just gutting schools of all the money, I like that one. So if you're going to be stealing my property taxes or these crap schools, should we be teaching critical race theory? No. Should we be teaching, America, let's get a boner every time we see a flag? Probably not, but, again, just let's, just seething from the left is always fun to vote, just based on that. So, yes. Let's see here. A couple more propositions to run through. Texas should enact a state constitutional amendment to defend the sanctity of innocent human life created in the image of God from fertilization. Even for me, that's just, oh boy, should enact a defense. From fertilization, are we really going to be like, that's a total abortion ban. Probably not. I'm not a huge fan of abortion, but this stuff would just be struck down like tomorrow. It's also, there's no genuine, mother of, or what would be like, if there's actual issues with the baby, like it's a problem for the mother. So if it's just that solid, I don't think even before Roe v. Wade, when it was a state issue, I'm not sure any state had, or very few states had it this strong. Maybe have it like some form of manslaughter after a certain period of time. Not that the current thing is that. It's just, I guess you can sue people. I'm not even going to get into it. It's a mess. It's a mess, but this is probably a little too far for me. The Republican-controlled Texas legislature should end the practice of awarding committee chairmanships to Democrats. Oh, man, this is great. So a lot of the more conservative Republicans got this on the ballot because some of the Republicans were like, oh, fellow Democrats, even though you guys don't get any chairmanships, we're going to be nice to you. No. So it should end. It should end. Sorry. Just punish your political enemies. Absolutely. Texas should protect the integrity of our elections by verifying that registered voters are American citizens, restoring felony penalties, and enacting civil penalties for vote fraud and fighting any federal takeover. Well, I like the last part. The first part's actually a bit difficult in sort of verifying that registered voters are American citizens. One of the issues with that, of course, is many American citizens who would be born here cannot really verify it because, people move around a lot, hospital records, and there isn't there might be a push to federalize everything, but as a matter of fact, a lot of people who are born here might not have the paperwork to be able to prove it too much, And even with hospital, is the state of Texas now going to be reaching out to everyone, hey, give us your hospital record that you're American, right? That's going to be tough. So I like the last part, I guess, so probably yes. But, and again, with these propositions, given how, broadly they're defined, it's not really, it's one of these things where, where's any of this going to go? But, the tranny stuff. Texas should ban chemical castration, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and genital mutilation surgery on all minor children for sex transition purposes. Again, another one of these cultural wedge issues for sex transition purposes. I probably would agree with that. I mean, there are some genuine intersex conditions where people have weird double genitalia and stuff like that, but just for the tranny stuff and children, come on. There's probably more important issues to spend time on, but, it's just like not stealing my property taxes. That'd be great. Or banning leaf blowers, sort of, as we mentioned before. Texas parents and guardians should have the right to select schools, whether public or private, for their children, and the funding should. Oh, yes. This is going to be interesting because Democrats as a party, because of the teachers' unions, they're always for this. Or they're very much against this. They're for keeping the public schools as crap as they are, and not having any charter schools and all this. This is going to be interesting because Democrats, if you poll them, they actually don't like, the state of things either. So if it comes to a plebiscite like this, and this makes it to the ballot, it'll be very interesting to see how the whole, whole state votes, and then what will be enacted, actually. That'll be very fascinating because that really just ends a lot of the public school shenanigans. And the last preposition, it's a COVID one, actually. Texans affirm that our freedoms come from God. Well, hold on. I thought there was a hospital. That was probably last year, if I remember. Like, you have a right to have somebody in your... Did we miss that one? Maybe that was last year. I thought the last one was you have a right to have a healthcare advocate if you're in the hospital. That was definitely a very COVID one. Did we miss that? Okay, that must have been last time because I'm clearly, this is, no. Texans affirm that our freedoms come from God and that the government should have no control over the conscience of the individuals. Well, I'm not particularly religious, so the first part's like, okay, all right, boomers, whatever. You get your little God stuff in there, but the last one's good. The government should have no control over the conscience of individuals. Again, it's one of these Miss America. A lot of these are kind of Miss America type or conservative Miss America kind of questions. But, I don't know. I kind of agree with it, at least the last part, no control. Now, again, my conscience is I shouldn't have to pay for bullshit schools I don't use and would never send my kids to, so, I don't think that's going to pass muster. But unless Proposition 2 passes, right? Right over here. Yes. So, right, I mean, it's like, I don't like the bad things. That's Proposition 10 here, but at least put it there in writing. That'll be interesting. Most of these prepositions probably vote yes. The abortion one goes a little too far even for me, although it would be interesting to see people squealing about it. So that's kind of it. Primary midterm year. We don't like Dan Crenshaw. Greg Abbott needs to be giving it a run for his money. Don Huffines, he is a very short man, it looks like, I think. I suspect he's a very tiny man, but I'll vote for him anyways. That's it. So lots of judges and justices and unopposed single party rule here, but it's fine. It's fine. And I'll vote for the county judge with the ambient issues. So anyways,